Welcome everybody. My name is Karen. I'm going to be your host for today, and I'm so excited to dive into these prompts with you. I have to say, I sat down with these for about an hour and a half today, and I didn't know how I was going to feel about them at first. But you know what? I really loved what came out of it. It's probably one of my favorite journaling sessions of the last 12 months. So I think you're in for a treat. A little bit of a housekeeping. Make sure your chat is set to everyone. Is this anyone that their very first social? If you are, let us know in the chat. We're thrilled to have you here. Hi, Karen. I'm so glad you guys are here with us. We're going to be working through page 14 and page 15, and we're also going to have an opening activity. If you aren't sure how to set your chat to everyone, there is that little picture in the left-hand side that will show you that little down pull that you can change it to everyone. Do note that some Macs, if you're on an iPad or iPhone watching, can revert back to host and panelists. And if that happens, it's just Malika and I who are going to be able to read it. And that's a perfect opportunity to say that Malika is here to support us in the chat. I'm coming from you. She's giving you a wave. We're both coming to you from the Bay Area. I'm right outside San Francisco, and she's in the heart of San Francisco. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and tackle these prompts because they are really good. Before we dive in, know that we do have these community guidelines. Be kind and courteous to everyone. That includes me and Malika, yourself, and everybody else attending the social. No promotions or spam. We are so excited if you've written a book or you are wanting to self-promote your health coaching or something like that, but this unfortunately is not the place for it. Respect everyone's privacy. There are times that we see Silk and Saunders family in the wild, and we may actually recognize their name. And if that's the case, what we say here stays here. It's like Vegas. We want to make sure this is a safe space where we all are absolutely feeling that we can be vulnerable with one another. No hate speech or bullying. Limit repetitive product and accessory questions. Sonder Club is a perfect place to ask those kinds of questions. If you have any issues with delivery or something along those lines, please email hello@silkandsonder.com. Unfortunately, Malika and I do not work for headquarters, so we will not be able to support you on those. It is a Monday and Friday through Friday team. They are a tiny but mighty team, but no, if you email them on a Sunday, they're not going to get back to you until Monday. And they're all over the US, so the time zones of where they're working are a little bit different. Sonder Socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community, but you are responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So let's go ahead and dive in. I think we all are pretty much familiar since we are almost through with January. I don't know where the month went, but this month's theme is ambition. This may be a little bit of one that's uncomfortable. A lot of us were taught that it was not okay to be ambitious. It wasn't feminine to be ambitious. That was something that was, a man's job to be ambitious. And so some of us may feel a little uncomfortable sitting with this, but I am loving this theme. I really am. I think it's my favorite one since spontaneity, not the summer, but the summer before. So our agenda for tonight, we're gonna have that opening activity. Remember, that is one that is not offered anywhere but except the social. We have page 14 and page 15. Now, also remember, if you find yourself stuck at any point and something feels uncomfortable to you, stick around, hang out in the chat, listen to the music, maybe color your page. But know that if something just doesn't feel right to you today, it's okay if you don't fill it out. There's no right or wrong way to Sonder. It is totally up to you how you do this. You might be in the shower, you might be on a walk, and exactly what you want to say comes back to you, or maybe not. Maybe this is not a prompt you'll ever address, and that is okay too. Christine, I can't wait to see your insights. I love that comment. Female ambition looks so different from male ambition to me. I can't wait to dive a little deeper in that and see if we all agree, if we disagree, if there are some similarities that are in common between both. Our opening activity, flip to a blank notes page, the scratch pad of the week, your thoughts journal, sticky notes, etc. I want to say that this one was a little bit beefier than some of our opening activities, and I definitely was glad that I used a notes page and versus a smaller version. You're going to list the top 5 people you admire. They can be people that you know in real life or famous people that you haven't met, but you know about. Why do you admire them? Do you think of these people as ambitious or not? How do their actions inspire your daily life? So I will put this prompt back up, but I will share with you my example. So 5 people, it's easier for me to read off my journal than it is off the screen. Well, number 1, I would say Neha, our founder of Silk and Saunders. She's a woman CEO in self-care. Her journal helps me be the best version of myself. And do I consider her ambitious? Absolutely, I consider her ambitious. She would not be able to take on the journal, the app, the socials, the book club with Gretchen Rubin, all of those things if she wasn't ambitious. Number 2, someone else who is absolutely familiar to our Silk and Saunders family, Gretchen Rubin. If you don't know Gretchen Rubin, she is an author and a podcaster. Her podcast is called Happier. She goes on with her and her sister, and I absolutely love it. I also love her books, The Happiness Project, Happier at Home, Life in the Five Senses, all of it. Her books and podcasts were my first dive into self-care. There was a point that I've shared this before, probably about 5 years ago. My husband we are in the Bay Area, so he was doing a startup. I was feeling very discontent with my life. He wasn't around much. My job was fulfilling, but a job wasn't really enough to fill my cup. And that's when I discovered Gretchen Rubin, and I did one of her 12-month projects on happiness. Unfortunately, right about that time is when I discovered Silk and Saunders and was able to take the journey even further. I love that she's unapologetically Gretchen. If you listen to her podcast, you'll know that she is a very unique person. She is she believes in abstinence. I don't mean within the bedroom. I mean that for her, having a little bit of sugar is too much. It's easier for her to say no. Same with alcohol or things like that. She doesn't really enjoy food. She is someone who hobbies are a little bit different than other people's. And I love all of that she accepts herself as she is, and she's unapologetically herself. And that lets me be me. Oprah. Oh, and do I consider Gretchen ambitious? Yes, I absolutely do. Someone who she actually worked as a lawyer for a Supreme Court justice. So that was before she became an author. Oprah. I don't know about what generation you're from, but I am straddling somewhere between Gen X and an elder millennial. But Oprah was one of the very first examples of a woman in broadcasting that wasn't typically like the weather girl. And I loved how she was so vulnerable and authentic that she wasn't scared to share her struggles with weight loss, with other things that she was dealing with. And she's also a humanitarian. She definitely was, starting in the early 80s, starting her career, she was a woman in a man's world in a profession that was predominantly men. And knowing that I have someone like her to be able to admire makes me feel a little more self-confident. It makes me feel a little more confident going onto camera and being really transparent with you guys. And do I consider ambitious? Heck yeah. I mean, come on. She has, or I think she still has her magazine. She's actually one of the very first times I journaled. I journaled electronically with her. Show for over 20 years. I mean, broadcasting a book club. Oh, some of those books, heartbreaking. So good. Number 4, Matt, that's my husband. My husband has been in the startup industry. We've been married 20 years and he's been involved in it for over 20 years, starting as an intern. And some of those startups turned out really well. And, they got bought by other companies and, you made a little bit of money off of it and you sold it off and that was great. But that's not always the way it works. And I'll take you back about 15 years ago when I was living in Austin, Texas. He had created a startup that this was pretty much in the infancy of like the iPhone era and smartphones, not just your razor kind of phone. And he had created and patented some technology that would allow you to use your smartphone to work with your hearing aid, and you would be able to adjust the tone and the background noise. And at this time, nothing like that existed. And the company wasn't successful. And I really struggled with the fact that we had taken money from family and friends for investment in that. And I felt completely and totally like it was a failure. And he never once looked at it like that way. He always is like, if you don't try, you won't, like if you don't try, you'll never fail. Failure doesn't mean that you aren't, doing a good job. And so that has given me the strength to try new and different things in my life, including starting a Pilates studio. Failure doesn't mean you failed, it means you tried. And so I very much admire that entrepreneurial spirit from him. And his patents are in use. We haven't gotten any money. There's a lot of people that are actually impinging upon his patents, but it's not something that he wants to pursue. He's just happy the technology is out there helping people. And then, inspired by our opening song, Dolly Parton, I Am a Southerner. I love that she is authentic, that she's a wonderful business executive and has a very kind heart. The money that she put into vaccines, the free books she gives to kids. I just think she's a really wonderful person. And I love how, she showed up dressed up as a cheerleader in her 70s, and she's completely transparent about her persona, her wigs, her plastic surgery, all of it. And I couldn't think of a nicer, kinder person. And listening to her music really, as a songwriter and as a singer, really lifts me up and can kind of give me a little boost on a day that is a little bit hard for me. So you can see I really enjoy digging into this. I'm going to give you a little bit longer than I normally would for a activity like this because I think it's really juicy. Now, if you get stuck, I'm going to advise you to hit Google and start looking at people that you might admire, and even start with people that you admire in 2024. That may not be the person that you admire on that list, but it does give you a starting point to start thinking about the types of people that you might admire. So I'm going to go off camera, I'm going to play some music, and I'm going to give you some time to work. No, they do not have to be alive, Phyllis. I loved reading that. It was beautiful hearing stories from your families, thinking about the military or a group of people, thinking about stars as just ones that have controversy like Michael Jackson or Taylor Swift, and saying, I can really admire them and the things they do and not respect all their choices. I love that perspective because there's a lot of people out there like that. And I love the story about a computer programmer, who really fought against the odds. It makes me think of what's the name of the book? It just got made into an Apple movie, Lessons in Chemistry. Love that book. If you haven't read it, it was a really good one. Okay, we're going to dive into the next section. Remember, you don't have to complete this prompt during that time period. I find this one was actually quite a bit more simple than the one that we just finished. So we're looking at page 14. So we're looking at, what does ambition mean to you? What are your current ambitions? List them out. Why are your ambitions important to you, and how would you feel if you achieved them? Okay, so I'm going to turn to page 14 and I'll put my example up. Sorry, page. Did I grabbed the wrong? No, I'm looking at the wrong page. Sorry, I was looking at my page 19 that I did in the last social. Okay, page 14. I was like, what? Because the two pages look the same. Sorry. So what does ambition mean to you? And I'll be honest, I was like, so I started looking online, and a lot of times that gives me inspiration. And so I kind of wrote down, thank you, Brenda. I'm like, grab the wrong journal. Did I grab December's? You have to understand, I carry this with me constantly. So like I carry my December with me because it has notes from things about the studio. So it could have been December's page. So I did a little Googling, and these are some of the things that really spoke to me. So I wrote them down. To achieve something great in life. And I don't necessarily mean like an accomplishment. Something great in life could be inspiring others. It could be having a wonderful family. That can be interpreted in so many ways. It doesn't have to be that you made $1 million. Results, that you do something, you have results. That could be a fitness, goal. It could be a career goal. It could be a goal for your education. Drive to do something better. So maybe there's something you're currently doing and you could even do better at that. Knowing what you want and doing it. So what are my current ambitions? List them out. I know it sounds insane, but right now I'm really struggling to get my workouts in. My studio is very, very busy, so I'm not able to scoot into classes like I would like. And I have my backyard being redone, which is something that has been a goal for a while, but my reformer's in the garage and I don't feel very comfortable working out when workers are walking by the glass door. It makes me feel a little uncomfortable. I want to open a larger studio. Ours only has 6 reformers, 6 chairs, and 6 towers. And I want to be able to open a space that we're able to offer 2 studios, one that's probably modalities besides just Pilates, and that we can hold big events at. I want to earn 6 figures next year. Um, I know that that is kind of controversial as far as like, should you put a number on it? I'm going to put a number on it. Why did I not list it this year? I did not take a loan out for my business. My business partner and I, we took our own money and put it into it. And so we didn't take out any loans. And I want to continue not to take out any loans. So whatever we're making, we're putting into our bigger space for the next year. We're investing in ourselves. So that's why it's a year out. And then I want to help people find a balanced life. That's what I want. I don't necessarily look like the girl that you see on Instagram that's a Pilates instructor. I'm older. I don't have a six pack. I'm fit. Don't get me wrong. I'm athletic. But I just was looking at Instagram right before this, and it was like a Bala ad, and all of those girls, they all had a very specific aesthetic. And I don't want to work with those people. If you happen to look that way, that's awesome. You're welcome in my studio. But to me, I want to help real people find balance in their life and in their fitness. And what are your ambitions important to you, and how would you feel if you achieve them? I would feel content. Yeah, that's what it is. I love, and if my Instagram, my favorite thing is being able to post photos of my students. And my students start at 13 years old and go up to 70. And there's nothing better than seeing all shapes and sizes and ages look and feel confident in their body. So for me, that is ambition, to be able to do that. Does that look like a certain number in the bank? Does it look like traditional ambition? I don't think it necessarily does. My ambition is to help others. So I'm going to leave you with that thought, and I'm going to give you time to work. This is so good. I've enjoyed reading everything that you guys have written, from taking time out to be with your kids, from rehabilitating your body and giving your body what it needs, thinking of the softer side of ambition. I think that's kind of where the next prompt is leading me, at least. So let's go ahead and dive in. This is page 15. And the question is, and I have a little teary reading everybody's stuff, sorry. What do your ambitions make possible for other aspects of your life? How can you balance your health, personal life, and other areas of your life in your pursuits right freely? So, this is when I really start thinking about the softer side, as you guys termed it, which I feel like we need to like put that in Sonder Club because I think that may resonate with other people. And I really don't want to generalize that all men are like climbing over each other. Um, some men do, obviously, but there are some women who are ruthless too, right? So I don't necessarily know male, female, or someone who identifies as other as a personality trait. And us Sonder people, we just don't roll that way, and that's why we love it. So I kind of did stream of consciousness writing. That may not work for you. This is definitely not the most organized essay. An English teacher would not be thrilled with what is of the organization of this. You could do bullet points. You could use stickers. You could draw some doodles that kind of appeal to you. There's no right or wrong way to do this, but for me, this is what I wrote. I can earn a living creating a business that I love that helps people. It allows me to use all that I've learned about health. Doing this kind of work helps to hold me accountable for my personal health and well-being. That's why I still work with Silk and Saunders, right? It holds me accountable. That's huge for me. And it allows me to buy really cute stickers. Let's face it, that's important too. To me, I do struggle with time management. I go too hard and then I need more rest. And I do listen to my body, but then the workouts are not as plentiful as I would like. So finding a balance in the next few months is critical for critical to my well living. Well living. See, great terminology there. So that's kind of how it went out for me. Yeah, I struggle, and I bet a lot of you struggle with work life balance. I go hard and I give my 100% to my clients and to the events that I run. And sometimes, and I go hard on my workouts too, but I worked out, I've been working out with a trainer. Um, because I know I need to start lifting heavier than just the Pilates because I'm at risk for osteoporosis because I take the Lupron shot to put me in menopause, and I have been for about 5 years. TMI probably, but nonetheless. But then it's like, okay, well, I've been killing it and I'm doing it, I'm doing it. And today was my day off. And you know what? It was really hard to get anything done. Like getting together a 20-minute meal that's simmering on the stove today seemed like that marathon to be able to step over. So, me trying to figure out how to balance being the best I can be and leaving some ability and flexibility for myself is what I'm really struggling with. And I didn't work out today. I didn't work out yesterday. My goal is to do short workouts the next 3 days. I'm still sore, but I can tell what my body needs. And right now, if I worked out, I would be lowering my immune system and I'd probably catch a cold. So that's where I am. Maybe it makes sense to you, maybe it doesn't. Your train of thought may be completely and totally different, and that's okay. So I'm going to give you time to be able to work on it. I wish I knew a way to like fade that out so it's not like whoosh, then very relaxing spa music, and then boom, here's my face. I think what I see in the chat the most is that like we all are a little bit struggling. I'm like, it's January, it's a hard time of year. And I recently attended a business conference that talked about that we have seasons in our life that sometimes will mimic the actual real seasons. But like winter is a time to kind of like, be a little bit slower and more intentional. And I think that we have to figure that out because we can't be living for the next vacation. We have to be able to create a life that we don't want to like go away from constantly. Have I figured it out yet? No, I haven't. I doing the best I can and I'm getting closer to it. Silk and Saunders has been a big reason for that. Opening my own studio has been a big reason for that. Like thinking of like, hey, I have leftover cinnamon sticks and I have cups with lids. Let's infuse cinnamon orange infused water and greet my people with it because it's rainy and miserable and everybody needs a little brightness. But doing that also means that I had to get up 30 minutes earlier to get to the grocery store to get the ice and all of those types of things. So, you know, is trying to find that balance. And I think that we're doing the right work. And I think sometimes we're going to do it better than others. And sometimes we're going to fail at it. And that's okay. We just recognize it and say, I'm going to try to do a little bit better and love myself a little bit more in the body that I'm a vessel in and just keep at it. So our time together is pretty much done. If you are so inclined, we would love to see and have you share your pages. Um, it really has been a hard prompt for a lot of people. And I think some of the things that you were talking about really could inspire others in Silk and Saunders. Because remember, the recording isn't going to have this chat. So I think that really could inspire if you feel comfortable sharing those pages. February's theme. I'll let Malika send that one to you privately just in case. There are some people who don't like their spoilers, but it's a good one. It's a good one. I'm very, very excited about it. Maya and I were working on the mind maps last night. Remember, we want to refer a friend to Silk and Saunders. They get $10, you get $10. If you want to save money on your annual subscription, there's that code. We have a new social feedback form. If you're looking for certain times or you're wanting more journaling versus setups, et cetera, that's where you can put that. Malika is going to send us the YouTube link. Remember, that is a private channel. There's a plethora, over 500 videos, but it does take a couple of days for them to get loaded. She also is going to throw in, people are talking about, where are the Silk and Saunders stickers? Well, they've taken a step back and they're creating more of a, I forget what they call it, but basically instead of being themed for each month, you have a package and you can look at them. I haven't seen the, except for photos, but there's a feelings wheel and I'm very excited about it. It looks more like the big packages that are like, that you flip up, that you rip pages out of at Michael's, more of that style. So I'm excited about that. I know, new stickers. Okay, so I am going to put the playlist in. I'd like to say I made it, but I didn't, but I think it is a good one. It's good for sleep. It's good for your shower. It's good for your journaling. I can't wait to see you guys next. And I am going to lead us out with a little more Dolly. I'm sure you can probably guess which one I'm going to put in there. We thank you and we love you and we will see you in Sonder Club.
Jolene, 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 I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 please don't take him just because you can. Your beauty is beyond compare, with flaming locks of auburn hair, with ivory skin and eyes of emerald green. Your smile is like a breath of spring, your voice is soft like summer rain, and I cannot compete with you, Jolene. He talks about you in his sleep, and there's nothing I can do to keep from crying when he calls your name, Jolene. And I can easily understand bet you don't know what he means to me, Jolene. Jolene, 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 I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 please don't take him just because you can. You could have your choice of men, but I could never love again. He's the only one for me, Jolene. I had to have this talk with you. My happiness depends on you, and whatever you decide to do, Jolene.